Buenas tardes slash noches. Amigos and amigas, bienvenidos a Talking de Feminas de People Plays, the only Mexican internet show that's entirely in English. I want to talk about that one super powerful thing. You know what I'm talking about? What comes to mind when I say that to you? What's that one super powerful thing? What comes to your mind, Legends Fall? Please don't say your penis. What profanity? What profanity? I didn't have any profanity, did I? I said, when I say to you the title of this video, that one super powerful thing, what does it make you think of? Nome, Alaska? Why Nome, Alaska? That's the question I'm asking everybody today on this live stream is when you read the title of this live stream, namely that one super powerful thing, what does it make you think of? I know what it makes me think of. I'm not going to tell you yet. I'm not going to reveal the right answer quite yet. Yeah, what's your real answer? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? I have the first thing that came to my mind when I wrote that. What do you presume I must be talking about when I write that? There. Do you think he must be talking about cognitive functions, or he must be talking about something, or what? What do you think I was talking about when I said that one super powerful thing? Sky Gear. I'm moving up the YouTube world? What do you mean? I'm doing the same thing I always do. I'm not moving up at all. I'm just hanging out as always. Truth, that's Benjamin Sutton thought. Football, those are both good answers. Really bright flashlights is a great answer. Those can be quite powerful. Of course, one might point to nuclear bombs as being particularly powerful, but that's not what I was thinking of. What was I thinking of? Well, I don't want to influence your own thinking if you haven't thought about the question yet. So I'm going to ask it one more time before I reveal the truth. What do you think? Yeah, there's only one true correct answer. There's only one super powerful thing that title was referencing. No. Nobody would ever guess the answer. The answer is Bette Midler. I don't know why, because I just thought the title was funny to put. I put that one super important thing, a super powerful thing. And then I said to myself, Bette Midler? So the answer is Bette Midler. Thank you, Lee Trimmer. If you currently don't have enough Bette Midler in your life, you're not alone. A lot of people have put away those old Bette Midler albums that they used to enjoy so much. It's time to bring them back to life and welcome them back into your family, because Bette Midler is an absolute genius. She has got it. I'm talking about, I do think that both really bright flashlights and football and truth and wisdom, all of those things are actually more powerful than Bette Midler, but none of them have nearly as much Bette Midleriness to them as Bette Midler does. I was watching Lost in Translation, and when Bill Murray's character sleeps with that red-haired chick from the band Soul Solido that's playing in the hotel bar, and he wakes up the next morning, I was like, oh no, dude, you slept with Bette Midler. And you know that's what you're thinking right now. Oh my God, I slept with Bette Midler. Because she's like coming out of the bathroom singing, yeah, 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 yeah. You know, Bette Midler, you know, NFP-ish and all like, I'm the singer in Soul Solito, and we're an adult contemporary band that's filled with Westerners that plays in a hotel bar in Tokyo. She felt pretty good about sleeping with Bill Murray's character because he was famous. You see, he was a superstar of stage and screen. He was paid $2 million in this movie to go promote whiskey in Japan. You believe gluons are the one super powerful thing? Is it because that's where glue comes from? If Bette Midler was in my room right now, I can't deny I'd get instantly funky with her. Well, Leaf Trimmer, that's not an impossible dream. You know, Bette Midler is still alive. And with the right charming approach, you too may be able to get in Bette Midler's pants. She's an older lady. She's probably not, you know, chased after by young studs like Leaf Trimmer very often anymore. You know, she'd rather be like, oh, let me act and sing and dance for you. Oh, she's a virgin. Bette Midler's definitely a virgin. Trust me, she's not that kind of girl. Bette Midler is one of the most virginal of all of the old lady actresses of stage and screen. You know who remarkably is still a virgin? Is Betty White. You know, I would have thought, Jesus, at some point before now, she would have given it up. But no, she was holding out for true love. And what I hear, she's getting married this month, and she's going to finally, a very, very old gentleman virgin is going to pop her cherry. Betty White really kept her figure, though. Betty White kept like everything way longer than people normally do. In other words, she's still working in her 90s. That's pretty rare. You know, talk about not losing a step. You got to be pretty impressed with Betty White's career, her permanence, her deep embedding into our culture and lives. Probably for people of a certain generation, they think of Betty White as primarily that lady from the Golden Girls. That's what I kind of think of her as. But if you were a little older than me, you probably think of her as some like star of feature films and stuff. The thing that gets frustrating is when you misplace your Betty White and you think you have her in tow and you realize it's Angela Lansbury. This is a frequent problem. Down at the country club, they're always bringing Angela Lansbury's lunch to Betty White and Betty White's lunch to Angela Lansbury. And Angela Lansbury's always throwing a fit and insisting somebody was murdered and she's here to solve the crime. Who would smash Betty White 2021? If I were single, no, I wouldn't. Now, Angela Lansbury, that's a different question. Okay. Cloris Leachman had an amazing career. You know what character I really appreciated in BoJack Horseman was the character actress Meow 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 Meow. I don't remember her name though, but it's like that show said, let's draw attention to the name of this lady who's been in lots of stuff that you never think of as or would recognize or anything, you know? What secrets does this universe hide? You're hungry for dark knowledge. Well, I've got some good news for you, LeBlanc. Knowledge that spouts from this knowledge hole comes in all different colors. All the colors of the rainbow. all the sounds of the forest, including the plaintive call of the humpback whale. Oh, oh, like that. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were turned on by humpback whale calls. Can I type you? Yeah, you're ENTJ. You get to be ENTJ. Do I know who Harry Merle is? You won't pay $100. Okay. Well, people can type you all they want. Yeah, I mean, I sometimes give people thoughts about what they are and from the chat or whatever. But we're not. I don't try to prevent people's type from being discussed here. But I'm not going to spend an hour with you typing. You know, I'm not going to formally type you. Fair enough, LeBlanc. Fair enough. You know what's interesting with a name like LeBlanc is that you're searching dark knowledge. Because I hope you're aware, Blanc means white. Like, for example, when somebody writes you a blank check, it means it's a white check. What hand do you polish your scrotum with, LeBlanc? You know, I've got a great billboard in mind for host Eric's brand of scrotum polish, which is get like kind of a young, tatted up dude of uncertain racial identity, and he goes, "You ain't got sheen, you just ain't ballin'." And he's like, "Hey, baby," and walks off with some chick, you know? And then, host Eric scrotum polish. If you ain't got sheen, you just ain't ballin'. Right? And then all the guys will be like, I got to be like that super cool, tatted up guy who's getting with all those ladies. Clearly, my problem is a lack of scrotum sheen. What would you do if I came over to your house, LeBlanc, and knocked on the door and said, "Hey, what do you have to offer me?" I got nothing to offer you. You don't seem like you reside on a higher plane of existence, old man. You are correct. I reside on the same plane of existence as everybody else. But we'll sell scrotum polish at the scrotum paint store. It'll also be right next door to my restaurant, Wrong Hole, which only serves the anuses of various animals. I don't know. You tell me, LeBlanc. Why bother? In other words, nothing that doesn't put you on a higher plane of existence is worth bothering with? What are you doing that's elevating you to a higher plane of existence that we all ought to be doing instead? Are you brushing your anus? Have you begun the new trend of anus brushing? Because along with Host Eric's scrotum polish, there is going to be Host Eric's brand of anus paste, which is like toothpaste, you know, but for your anus. The only desire you have is transcending this mortal coil? Well, the only way to do that is to die. So you probably don't want to do that. To transcend this mortal coil literally means to die. So will MBTI help you die? I don't know. I guess it depends where you stick it. That's literally what it means, Cloud. It means when you say transcending mortal coil, it means literally to die. That's literally what the expression means. This mortal coil is a Shakespearean term meaning being alive on Earth. And it hasn't killed you yet, huh, Legends Fall? You just got to treat MBTI like Q-tips. Only use them on the outside part of the year. Now you have to step into a conference call with Asia and not laugh. Well, be prepared for some funny accents, you know. That's probably where the thread of your laughter comes from. So let's see here. Asia Terrera, is that her name? The girl, and I think she's in pornography, maybe. Asia Ferreira, or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody else know what I'm talking about? Do we have any other porn aficionados here? Any other pornography watchers? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Asia Carrera. Thank you, Katie. Okay, good. Well, I oppose suicide, death, or transcending this mortal coil via some other means as well. Okay. In other words, I don't think that I'm only successful by being better than other human beings. We're all just human beings, including the Buddha. Tia Carrera. It wasn't Asia Carrera. Thank you, Tia Carrera is the correct name. Why did I call her Asia? Just because she's Asian, I guess. I must have seen her name associated with with the word Asian so many times. I thought her name was Asia. Tia Carrera. How about this place becomes actually fun instead of slightly fun? I mean, I'd suggest you leave since you seem so bothered by it. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to stick around something that's giving you so much difficulty. It's uncomfortable for you, clearly, to have to process things as, meaningful ideas as it matter. So maybe it's not a good place for you, If you're not comfortable here, I would suggest go somewhere else. You'll note that I haven't locked the door. You can still get out. Asia Carrera is a person too. They're both porn actresses, Tia Carrera and Asia Carrera. Is the whole Carrera family full of porn actresses? It's a big country next to that other big country, Africa. That is exactly what Asia is, isn't it? Asia is kind of like an island, but more like a continent. You know what's not a continent? Let's be honest about it. Europe is not a continent. No way. Europe is not a continent. It does not count as a continent. Your mom's face is more of a continent than Europe. Asia C doesn't do porn, but she did pose for Playboy. Wakanda. I don't know what Wakanda is. I bet she is, Leaf Trimmer, with a name like Asia Terrera from the famous pornography family, the Carrera Terreras. No doubt she is. She's a lady in the streets, but a freak in the sheets. See, the thing is, I've always dreamt of the opposite, a lady in the sheets, but a freak in the streets. So that, she's too prim and proper to ever sleep with me, but she's always going topless and screaming, woo, when we go out in the world. TEFE moved to EP. I don't think TESE and NE belong in IM. No, but you're okay. So here's the deal. Remember them as communicative functions and experiential functions. Okay, so SE SE isn't in the IM. SE is not in the IM. NE is, because like when I was taking a bath the other day, yesterday or whenever it was, either I'm paying attention to the SI matter, in other words, feeling the water in my body and relaxing and going, or if I'm a little too thwacked to get into the spirit of the SI, I'll still be thinking in my head stuff that I'll probably say later on a video. So it is true that putting information for an NE DOM on the internal metaphysical field is a temporary stopgap, but it plays out much differently for an INTP. They're quite comfortable putting their extroverted intuition on their internal metaphysical field and not vocalizing it nearly as much as the ENTP because they've got better SI and they can keep track of it better. FE belongs in the internal metaphysical field because that's where it stores its information. So, in other words, you can't know about how someone else feels by referencing how you feel yourself, your own body. You can know how someone else feels by referencing external physical data like facial expressions, by accessing external metaphysical data like the meanings of words, or by accessing internal metaphysical information, which is necessary, namely to receive links to your previous experience that is associated with this and to the universal realities of what it is. So let's say there's an animal I've never seen before, walks out of the bushes. I know I've never seen this before and I have no idea what it is. And I know it kind of looks like a cross between a goose and a chicken or something, or a goose and a sheep. I don't know. Because of course that's the best SI reference point I can find, given that it's not actually, there's not an actual previous example of it. So well, you probably do use a lot more TI to do that, but that just means you are only accessing getting the meanings of the words, and you're neglecting largely the physical data that people provide in terms of FE. A Shoes or a Geep. Eric, on what basis do you value human life? Where did that come from? I mean, it's like we're talking currently about what field these functions ought to be on. Are you paying attention to what we're talking about? Well, look, the thing is, Legends Fall, the reason why SI and NI are both on the internal metaphysical field, in part, is because you have to have both to understand the identity of something. In other words, I have to have seen it before and to have a linkage to what it is. If I'm seeing something brand new, I can't intuit the identity of it. If it's truly brand new to me and I've never encountered this thing before, then I will not know what it is. For example, that hat that Florian, whatever his name is, was wearing. I didn't know from an NI perspective that it was some sort of national treasure hat or whatever. I did know from an NI perspective that he looked ridiculous. And I knew from an SI perspective that people don't normally wear hats like that, right? Like I don't normally see people wearing that kind of color of hat. And that he knew he was going to be on TV. Why would he wear such a strange, funny hat, you know? It makes him look like a penis. So to say, well, it makes him look like a penis is an NI kind of knowledge or an NI truth that I'm extrovertly intuiting or something. It's not particularly creative or original. It's the obvious thing to say, right? It's NI. Oh shit, what did I do? I made fun of his hat. That's what I did. So it's like, that's an example of me encountering something brand new and failing to intuit, probably possibly because I'm NI ignoring. Maybe somebody who's less NI ignoring would have picked up some cues like, maybe this is some kind of cultural thing or whatever, you know, that I either didn't pay attention to or chose not to pay attention to or whatever you want to say about it. From an SI frame of reference, from my own personal experience, oh my God, what a ridiculous hat. From an Albanian's own personal experience, oh my God, what an important and meaningful hat, you know. Our SI is conflicted there. And the reason my experience of that hat and their experience of that hat caused so much conflict between us is because I said the NI truth about it, which is it makes them look like a penis. And that's insulting to their hat. And the reason they got so pissed off about it is because it's so obviously true. You know? So, what are you going to say about that? I don't know. Okay, well, the thing is about the animals, it looks like that may not have been a great example. Okay, the hat example provides us a more meaningful example. We're very unlikely to see a brand new creature in the world, you know, and that's harder to explain anyway. So that was a poor example. So just get rid of the goose and the sheep example, okay, or goat or whatever. Forget that one. Erase it from your memories. But, you know, probably I wouldn't be surprised if Rachel had some sort of sense of, Eric, I think this hat might be important to them or something. And I was just, publish, you know, what's that? Huh? She was sort of giving me like, have you considered? But it was already published before she even could convey to me what she was whatever she was thinking. I don't know. She may have had some indication or sense that maybe it was a special hat. I guess just because the guy chose to wear it in that context would suggest he intentionally wanted to show off that hat in some fashion because he knew that context was going to be one in which he would be on TV. So, I guess there was enough information there to intuit that if you make fun of this guy's hat, it's going to be a sore spot for somebody. Maybe there was enough information to intuit that, but I didn't intuit that. I just thought, oh my God, look at that ridiculous hat. I didn't want to learn anything about it. I just wanted my immediate response to it on video. Like, can you guys believe this hat? But one of my favorite timing things was like the day after that hat video, somebody came into a live stream and like threatened to thumbs down 2 of my videos or something. I was like, your thumbs down threat just doesn't have a lot of impact on me. Especially after it's an ancient tradition for my people to greet females with a boob grab as a sign of respect. Hey, I can't disrespect you. Now I'm going to have to make sure double not to disrespect you. In my culture, we greet women with a 15-minute session of breastfeeding. Whether they're lactating or not, it doesn't make any difference. Whenever a woman greets a man, she cradles him in her arms and feeds him from her bosom. After a full 15 minutes, they can begin their conversation. These are the ways of our people. All must obey, all must listen. No grannies, okay? Nobody grabbing anybody by the mia, all right? We ain't doing no grabbing, all right? We are respectable gentlemen. We don't grab. We don't lecherously stare. We don't fondle, jiggle, jostle, or juggle, okay? We don't gape in astonishment. We don't gape the other sense. We don't. Hi, Rachel. I'm discussing all the ways in which we as gentlemen around talking with famous people do not act, okay? We do not, quote unquote, grab people by the pussy, okay?
Definitely not.
No, we don't.
Can I give you a kiss on the cheek, though?
Mm-hmm.
Instead,
we engage in endless chivalry. Oh, milady, you mustn't feel the cool night air. Let me fetch you a sweater. There's not really much to grab there, you know. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I think that's why it took off in the first place, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Hod's Brew. How the hell am I? I am well as a swell bell in hell. She's to say, I'm not well at all. What about an apple squeeze? That means that you're challenging somebody to a wrestling match. Anytime you walk up to a person, be they male or female, and squeeze their nipple with a squeeze and then a tug, 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 that's my people's way of saying, I challenge you hereby to a wrestling match.
Wow, that says a lot.
First 1 to 3 pins. A pin is both shoulders touching the ground, by the way, not one shoulder. That's the rules for this wrestling match. It's done in the Greek style, totally in the nude, while shooting olives out of your nose.
I was wondering if that was going to be added on too.
Yeah.
So you say that all that just by doing that one
gesture. Well, it's an important gesture. You know, it's a sign of wanting to wrestle. Wrestling is very important to my people.
To your people.
My people are an isolated tribe. It's a cross between the Minoans, the ancient Greeks, the Atlanteans before their island got put under the ocean, and an alien race called the Ancient Ones who participated in that activities of a licentious nature with women of the ancient world, impregnating them, ultimately become my people, the little known Galdonistanians. We live on the island of Galdanistan, And it's a small island nation with our main agricultural product is bananas. Well, it's banana and jicama. We grow a lot of jicama on our little island paradise. We've got some of the most diverse species in the world. We've got 40 different kinds of praying mantises on my island.
Oh my gosh.
You know, in some evolutionary science communities, they're known as Darwin's mantises because they're considered the equivalent of the finches and how demonstrative they are about the way our beautiful world evolved from a less complex to ever more complex and still evolves in the same way today. Isn't that wonderful? Doesn't that make a lot of sense? Keep going with this paracosm. What's a paracosm? I gotta look it up. You're causing me to Google words. Goes right. That means you're teaching me about vocabulary, which is something I always appreciate. Paracosm is a detailed imaginary world. Paracosms are generally thought to originate in childhood. I've got a bunch of these.
Oh, is that the B and the B?
I put old ones away. Once I stopped pretending in a world, then I put it away and I start a new one. I rarely go back to that old world, but I still go back to some old world. This is what I do before I go to sleep every night is play pretend in my head with these various places. But
Oh, thank you, PB. Thank you.
It's not the case that it originates in childhood. My most recent ones are all recent.
Yes.
I had to shed paracosms like skins of a lizard because my earliest paracosms involved me being a slaveholder, and at some point I found that to create too many, I guess, logical contradictions for me or something, and I realized I was going to have to exclude owning slaves as part of my paracosms. So from that point forward, I no longer had any slave owning paracosms. Because as a little kid, I liked the notion of, owning a lot of slaves. Seemed like a good idea to me.
Slaves are like headmaster of the people who work downstairs. Or like seriously, like straight up slaves.
No, I mean like slaves, yeah. Like I owned them and they had to do what I said and stuff like that. And then
Not like
the older I've gotten, the paracosms become more about finding moments of grace in chaotic places that reflect choices of greater rather than less humanity. Sometimes I'll play it a couple different ways. Like the one I currently am in, my current bedtime pretend land is I'm playing out a specific battle in two different ways. One of which I kill everybody, and one of which I don't kill them. And the reason it takes me a long time to get through it is because I only get a little bit into it every night, and like I've stopped going over the beginning of it now, and I'm into this secondary part of it.
Oh goodness!
But I haven't decided exactly how it goes, I guess. So I think things like, well, it could go that by killing everybody here, it puts a quick and final end to conflict with this other authoritative governing body.
Oh my gosh, so much lovin's.
Or it could potentially escalate. They could It really depends on how I want these enemies, what their framework is. If I want to make them more like Japanesey, then killing all these troops is just gonna Banzai! And they all fucking come charging out anyway, so then I have to kill all the rest of them too. These are the kind of things I think about in my pretend when I'm going to bed. You have an inner anime too? Okay, cool. So the thing is, I've had this shit go on for me for my entire life. I kind of thought at some point, like I would stop doing it when I grew up, that I stopped pretending. Never stopped happening. And the adultiness of the pretending increased in terms of the nuanced relationship I have with the moral agency in the pretending. But it never grew up in terms of magic and swords and stuff. It's like I still like that same shit.
I like that about you.
So
Awesome morals.
here it is. Encedamus, let me tell you, the point of this stream is already inside of you. Here. You already know. Now the truth has been revealed within. And that warm glow of knowledge and truth that's encompassing you right now is moistening every bit of your tenders. That's called love. Because you are in love with me. Host Eric. Host Eric and Encedamus sitting in a tree, loving each other in a non-sexual way. It's not to talk about the video that precedes this live stream, unfortunately. I did talk about it. I answered your question pretty good. Did a pretty good job of answering your question. Well, what about the outer world? What a soothing voice, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe our paracosmos will be our heavens. That'd be cool. I'd have quite a few. The one I do return to periodically that was a very boring paracosm, but I spent a lot of time in when I was drinking, when I was a drinker, is the cabin in the woods deep in Canada, where I get dropped off by helicopter and I have to walk still a couple of miles into the cabin. And I have my little dog with me because it was back then when I was in this place. And it would start snowing very hard before, really start buckets of snow. You don't usually use buckets for describing large amounts of snow. But anyway, a lot of snow coming down. And then just as we're trying to be like, okay, it's almost dark and it's getting pretty cold. And Lacey's looking like, hey. Then we get to the cabin and we go inside and I'm completely isolated from the world and nobody can contact me. And I am not subject to anybody's expectations. And I
Lacey's there?
Yeah, this was from back in that day. That's when I was in this particular paracosm. It was the idea was I'm safe here in this cabin because nobody can get to me. I am therefore, not beholden to any expectations from the external world. And in my sort of walking through the experience in my head, it would be very much a coziness, safeness kind of weird alcoholic fantasy that involved me just not having to be,
Oh, kitty rolls.
What's the best MBTI girlfriend? Rachel. She's the best girlfriend in the whole MBTI community. Oh, for you, question mark. I'm sorry, I didn't finish reading your thing. I don't know. What's your type, question mark? What was my dog's favorite drink? Water. I don't think the dog drank anything but water, really. Oh, my beauty pants.
She just fell at your feet.
She's a wonderful kitty with wonderful ways. She's licking her fur. She's cleaning for days. Beautiful kitty, so sexy and fine. Licking your fur like you're drinking your wine. Beauty kitty. Kitty friendship power. Beauty kitty. Kitty friendship fun. Beauty kitty. I love your friendship power. Beauty kitty. You are the friendship one. That song was called Beauty Kitty. Oh, what a beauty.
Oh, what a beauty.
Oh, what a beauty.
Does everyone see her majesty? Oh.
These are her purple waves of majesty, amber waves of grain. Her purple mountain majesties.
She and Daddy are buddies.
Oh, my beauty. Your majesty is constantly astonishing me again. You want a bong rip, PP?
If you do, I will.
Sure, I will. But I'm just wondering if PP's right there because she's trying to tell me, hey, spark a bowl, yo.
Maybe, yeah.
What are you waiting for?
She's sitting right in front of me.
I need to smoke weed too, you know. I'm part of the family too. Just because I'm a cat doesn't mean I don't need to smoke weed. No, I don't know. I've never blown it in her face or anything like that. I never intentionally blow it at her.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she likes it. I've not noted that she makes a point of coming closer when we're smoking bowls or anything. She doesn't seem to have any opinion about it, frankly. No. But I don't believe in getting your pets high. So I just don't do that.
She gets contact.
I mean, if she gets high without me trying to get her high, that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. I only have a problem with me trying to get her high. I don't feel an obligation to prevent her from getting high. I just feel a negative obligation not to force her to get high. Not to intentionally try to change her mind state with my actions. If it happens because I'm negligent about keeping her in a room where she's got a lot of smoke, shit happens. That's what it means to be my pet instead of somebody else's pet, right?
One time I did blow it right at her out of curiosity.
Fine. I'm sure I've blown it at her many times when she's sitting on my lap and I'm pulling bong rips. I'm just saying I've never been one to try to think it's a good idea to try to get your dog high or your cat high. Yeah. I had a dog, Winston, who was a basset hound. I don't think it really impacted him or anything, but my housemates in college got that dog high plenty, I think, and even though I told them not to, and it was a really dumb dog. Now, I really don't think I think that had mostly to do with being a basset hound. Not so much dumb as incredibly stubborn and smelly, and kind of dumb, but it's probably just from being a basset hound.
Inside the bedroom with me?
If by somebody else you mean the cat, ? You are right. Rachel and I are in a polyamorous relationship with our cat. Now, we don't actually have sexual intercourse with the cat at all, or touch her genitals or anything like that, but we have really sensual petting time. Yes. Where it's just like, oh yeah, I love you. Oh, I love you too. Mm-hmm. The thing is, of course, we talked about it a lot before we decided to go polyamorous. And I said, I'm worried that this cat's going to come between us, that you're going to like the cat more than me, that I'm going to like the cat more than you. Well, it's turned out that, basically the cat is in charge now. It's like, if the cat feels like bestowing on you her grace, you're the lucky one that day. I think she sometimes does in fact try to play us against each other. She tries to make me jealous or Rachel jealous. Anytime I want her to come sit on my lap, no deal. Anytime she wants to come sit on my lap, it's not okay for me to say no.
Yep. It's mostly on her terms.
Like, just is that way with everything. It's like, okay, well, here's your breakfast, Pee-Pee. Could you please go get me some burritos from the freezer? She says no. So I just fed you. She says, and what? And not really anything I can say about that. All right. Incognito, that's your style. Incognito in a little while. What do you think it's like to be an NI Dom? I think every moment is an absolute delight. Just the world, the truth, the future, the past. I know. That's what it means to be an NI Dom. I don't know. I'm dating an NI Dom, and she's a great lady.
Thanks, you're a good guy.
And we get along super well. But of course, the other thing to remember is, if you are an NI Dom, just like any other Dom, whether or not you're going to be able to express a healthy and happy version of you links at least somewhat to factors beyond your control. That doesn't mean you should have an external locus of control or something, but it does link somewhat to that. So Rachel, moved from an environment where I think it was a struggle to just sort of hold what little ground she could in a context that had normalized coercion for Rachel's own good, basically. So it's like that had to be an extremely difficult reality to deal with, because her NIFE is saying this shit is bullshit. I know it's bullshit, but the SI in the family is very subject to normalizing that which is objectively unacceptable. So the takeaway from this is that if you're an NI Dom, what's it like being an NI Dom? Well, I think what it was like to be an NI Dom for Rachel 2 years ago is extremely different than what it's like to be an NI Dom today.
Yes.
So remember, the importance of life circumstances certainly are relevant to your overall mental and physical well-being.
Yeah.
Why did you block Lijo, Gen Xio? I would never imagine anybody say that they blocked Lijo. I would imagine Lijo blocking people potentially, because like any YouTuber, she gets a lot of, I'm sure, bile thrown at her, and believe me, Lijo, I know the feeling, dog. Some people like to come around here and try to shit on me. It's like some people, it's like their favorite activity. Every day they're around here trying to shit on me in the same way too. It's the same person. It's like, can you become interested in something else, please? Can you take up Pac-Man or something?
Can I have a sip of your soda? Is there enough?
One sip, Rachel. One sip. That's it. So you can have as much as you want. Was it orange and delicious?
I was. We have so many great drinks now. You want to come with me, Kitty?
First of all, let me say, I have to remember to comment on this at 8:30 when I see Jeffrey, but the cakes that she brought us, my client brought us yesterday were so delicious. Oh my God, they were such good cakes. They're not too sweet. They're like made by a Chinese bakery, so they've got like they're like 60 super thin layers, like that kind of cake, you know? They were fantastic. So I have to remember when I work with my client later, to thank her for those again, because man, that was some good cake. When I was a kid, I remember I'd often be sort of like whiny late in the evening, wanting a snack. And my mom would say, well, you can have some more pot roast. I don't want that. Well, you can have some. I don't want that. Well, what do you want? I want cake. I'd say that frequently, like I want to eat cake. Well, rarely do I actually eat cake, but last night I ate some really good cake. I mean, it was really good cake. Let me tell you. I took the trash out already. I had the box I could see. It was like fancy cake. Like it came in a fancy box with like a gold embossed letter on top of it or something. And we opened it and we're like, oh, look at those fancy pieces of cake. One of them was chocolate, one of them was pistachio, and one of them was regular flavor. I don't know what to call it. It was like kind of brownish, but not chocolate. It was delicious. And the thing is, no fishiness at all. And the key thing is, this is the most important thing. I'm not eating ass. What are you talking about? The most important thing is that none of the cakes were too sweet. They were all exactly the right amount of sweetness, which is not super sweet, but just sweet enough, And they all had those super thin layers of, I guess it's the same kind of pastry dough maybe that you make baklavas out of. I've had people pretend to be me here. I'm literally nobody. Lol. Well, listen to me up to Place 48. Keep asking me, okay? I will at some point probably relent here with you. And baklava, right? See, my neighbors across the street, the Heilmans, they had, I don't know, it was either Mr. or Mrs. Heilman's old Polish father. He made baklava. He was Polish, though. He wasn't Greek. And his baklava was very delicious. I enjoyed it as a child. Then the Heilmans moved away. Oh, well. I wonder whatever happened to the Heilmans. I have no idea what happened to the Heilmans. Whatever happened to Kelly Reardon? She was my best friend for my early childhood. And she and I we played very inappropriate games with each other in our early childhood. It seemed like every time I played with that girl, we'd play some sort of naked game, Anyway, when I think back about all that stuff, I guess when you got a couple of whatever, like 6-year-old kids or something, or I don't know how old we were, 5, 4, who knows how old we were. But we got a couple of little kids like that, then they're obviously just playing and there's nothing, I guess. I mean, I don't feel like anything wrong with it or whatever. It's just like, but it was a perverted neighborhood. Like the kids were not supervised very well, if at all. And there were like it was perverted up until adolescence. Then it was crickets, everyone was insecure or scared or whatever, or things had changed in the neighborhood. Like, see, the girls moved out at some point too. Like Kelly was a girl in the neighborhood and Tracy was a girl in the neighborhood, and Tracy's house burned down, and then Kelly moved up to Upper Arcadia. I don't know where Tracy went. I've actually reconnected with Tracy from across the street, via Facebook. She's married, has kids or something. And I just said, "Hey, I looked you up because I was thinking about that day your house burned down." And I was all standing out in front watching your house burn down. So I just made me want to touch base and say, "You remember that?" I'm sure she remembers, of course. It was her house that burned down after all. Yeah, she's married with kids. Some boring shit. I don't know. But the point is, I tell you what wasn't boring, Joe. Watching her house burn down, that was not boring. That was like, wow, look at that. That's exciting. There's a fire across the street. Woo, firemen are gonna come. Hey, I got a kid, Joe. Is that something boring? Is my kid boring? Am I boring because I have a child? I don't think so. Doesn't make you necessarily boring. If I had a superpower, it would be exciting. That's the opposite of boring. We don't need no water. We don't need no stinking water. I don't talk about my kid that much. You just haven't been here at the right moments. She's been on the stream a couple times, not that long ago anyway, and I've talked about her more recently than I used to, by a large margin anyway. It's a really interesting relationship because we're both FI polar, and it's a unique relationship, father-daughter relationship is, well, especially between me and Delilah, it's pretty special and pretty unusual. We really like each other a lot, Forget about familial relations. And Jim plays you. That's a very silly question. If you were able to, would you travel back to 1989 when you were 18 and Rachel was 4, to travel all the way to where she was just to say to her parents, "I'll be dating her soon enough," and leave? No, I definitely would not. I don't know any way in which I could possibly frame that so that it would sound good coming from my 18-year-old mouth, referring to a 4-year-old. The thing to remember is what I should do, if I had a chance to do it, back when I was in 7th grade, and I was in New York, because as Rachel and I have figured out, it seems very, very plausible. We don't know for sure. Probably never be able to know for sure, but it's very plausible. Makes perfectly good timing sense that I was on my 7th grade school trip to New York when somewhere deep in the Yonkers, one Mr. Lapalosa impregnated his lovely wife with my future life partner, Rachel Lapalosa. Serendipity? Coincidence? Magic? Fate? Destiny? You may never know. But I do know this. If I could travel back in time before I flew back to LA, right before, so I made sure I didn't interrupt the coitus and screw it all up. But right before I flew back to LA, I'd knock on their door and I'd say, hey, you know how you banged your wife in the last couple of days? You impregnated her with my future life partner. And Rachel's dad would say, who are you, 7th grade boy? And I'd say, that's for me to know and you to find out in 34 years, 36 years. It was the slabs. You'll find that out in 36 years, mister. If I would have said. Eric, can you find 16 MBTI types and put them together and observe them with a camera? I mean, no. I don't think that would be useful at all. But I do think that it would be useful for me to show examples, like go through my old typing sessions and pull chunks out that show people of several different types answering the same question. And then comment on whether or not the different ways in which they answer that question is revelatory, red herring, or something else, you know? So I think that would be a good idea. It's like that would be a way to use existing material intelligently that would have better results than using existing material in some other way, probably. I've got so much existing material that I never do anything with, really. You know, it's like it's not just like I could go through Google Docs and play which of the dozens of started and unfinished documents would I like to return to at this moment, and why? Or do I want to play which documents should I combine and clean up into one? You know, like those questions. Well, I would say, pause it, play the section, maybe say beforehand, or just, you don't have to say anything beforehand. You play the section, and in the section, maybe have some text in there that says, like, note this, note that. And then afterwards say, okay, so this is how I interpret that, or something like that. Just if I could just do it with a short segment from 3 different videos of 3 different type people were asked basically the same question. And then explain how the different kinds of answers are reflective of some cognitive function. Then that would probably be a good video, I think. 2.21 gigawatts. That's the amount of energy it takes to power my sparkling personality. It's a lot of energy. I do need a professional TWFP archivist. I need a archivist / project manager. See, any gives themselves the option to think and decide if they want to go back to it or not. Right. Well, it's worse than that, like Joe. I used to believe that there'd later be time to get back to and use and watch and process in some fashion all these things that I'm making. I used to actually just not get the fact that no, there's never going to be a time when you do that, right? It's like you have all this like, well, let me just take these hours of notes on my current thinking about whatever, right? When am I going to go back and listen to those notes, and for what purpose? Well, from in my mind, it's like, well, I have infinite time, so eventually when I run out of any, I guess I'll go back and finish these things or something. I don't know what I was thinking, but I operated with a basic belief that yes, later I was going to get back to this. Nowadays I'm not fooling myself in the same ways. It's like, when you only have a couple of guppies in your tank, if you accidentally scoop one out with a scooper and dump it in the sink, and you see there's a fish in the water that you're dumping out in the sink, you go, oh no, and you save it. If you've got more fucking guppies than you know what to do with, and you accidentally scoop up a couple of babies and they go down the sink, you're just like, whatever. Well, that's how it is with just raw content or raw ideation. I've got so much of it that I start to recognize, you have to refine things into products. It's like, like I don't want to go to a potluck where everything's in one big dish, all next to each other, and the thing I want is in the middle somewhere, right? That's not how people want to get their food. They want to like dig through all the shit they don't want so they get this omelet, but it's still got some like goat on it and some salmon and béarnaise sauce on it from the stuff next to it. My USP is typing people. Only the somewhat hardcore type and personality people are likely to come around. My USP, I don't understand what that means. The thing is, there's potentially quite a large audience to be garnered via cognitive functions, even if you're not a particular cognitive function aficionado, if you do it right. I mean, look at Frank James. And you might say, well, Frank James is really gaining an audience that's not interested in typology so much as they are interested in Frank James. And it might be correct to say that Frank James has inherently more charisma and or appeal than you do, Eric. So you're going to have to provide more universal content in order to garner anything close to that kind of audience. I might agree with all of that stuff. But yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. Nashville 5 with Chris Ebert, realtor. Realtor. Execution's always been my struggle. Well, the thing is, if you think about it, the fact that it's easy to come up with lots of possible ideas inherently means it's hard to settle on one and end the ideation process to begin the execution process. Because after all, if we keep ideating, we keep having other good ideas that delight and amuse us in the moment. As ENTPs anyway, I don't know if you are one or not. I forget, Chris Ebert. But it takes a while to put together all the possibilities and make sure you want to do something. The thing is, The advantage ENTPs have over INTPs is ENTPs just start shit before they realize they're starting something. Basically, they go start thinking about something. They go, well, let me just. What am I thinking about? Okay, I can't keep track of it all in my head. Start writing. Now all of a sudden I'm working on a project. Today's project I thought was fairly time efficient for me. Like it didn't take me long to draw those pictures really. And well, that's what your joke there keeps telling me too. So the point is it's a complicated overarching metric. Like what I mean, one of the big issues is this. The way I want to engage with people like this is not the way I want to engage with people in the live chat in this fashion doesn't comprise currently a means of acquiring a large audience. So I have, okay, LeBlanc, why are you being provocative, Cloud? Will you just stop? Surely you can find something else to do. Don't listen to LeBlanc. He's just being an asswipe. You know what asswipes get, LeBlanc? That's right. They get to sit in the corner. No, not the good corner. The bad corner. The corner for bad ESFPs, whose frustration is spilled over into attacking other people again. This is sort of advanced stuff. What is? I mean, cognitive function stuff I talk about? I mean, I talk about all kinds of shit, right? I talk about politics. I talk about people around here. I talk about ways to talk. I talk about philosophy. I talk about fucking goes further. I already tried this shit. I already tried to. I was very patient with them. I mean, it's funny. I am normally very susceptible to that stuff, but he can't seem to engage in a friendly way. So whether it's because he's sad or because he's mad or because he's bad, I don't know. But regardless, I can't be responsible for his failure to engage in a friendly fashion. What I mean by friendly is basic courtesy, bottom level, minimum kind of courtesy stuff, you know? I don't mean bowing and saying milady. You know, so ISTJ, ISFP, INFP, and INTP are all exclusive to the IM quadrant. No other types have quadrant exclusivity. What do you mean they're exclusive to the quadrant? I mean, FE is active in the 3 fields where I show you. So, one of those types is FE. So they're not exclusive to the IM quadrant. ISTJ, they have SI, which plays out in the IP and the IM. They've got TE, which plays out in the external metaphysical the internal physical, and the internal metaphysical. And then they've got FI, which plays out in the internal metaphysical, internal physical. That's what it says. No. Okay. So, in other words, every one of their functions plays on the introverted metaphysical field, not extroverted sensing. Extroverted sensing doesn't. Extroverted sensing puts information in the internal physical and the external physical. Didn't you say ISFP? Wasn't that one of the ones you said? Yeah, you said ISFP. So, um, INFP has extroverted intuition. That is on the external metaphysical field. Let me look at Let me look at the picture. Let me look at the picture. Okay, here's the picture. So, what you see here is that the internal metaphysical field, TI and FI both get information from it. NE puts information on it or to it. SI receives information on this field, and NI receives information on this field, and FE interfaces on this field. Okay? So all of these functions do their thing at least some of the time on this field. In other words, it's possible to get information from the external metaphysical field with your TI or to do it in your head. But it's not possible to TI something here or here, definitionally. In other words, because we have to simulate this, it has to be, look, it's not arbitrarily divided, though, question mark is the important thing to note. In other words, we're trying to come up with a thing that we can simulate, that we can actually program in and see how those vectors as described in the environment as described with objects and agents as described matches our predicted behavior of such things. So this model here, we can use an internet analogy to make it easier to understand. I can put information here on the external metaphysical field by talking to you on the internet, okay? I can put introverted intuition on the internal metaphysical field by thinking some words that I don't say to you out loud. So I just thought some things that you're not going to know about. I'm not going to tell you what I thought right there. Okay. I can know that someone's a troll by what they say. Okay. Right away, even though I don't have enough data to actually know it. This is a good example of NI in the external metaphysical field. Or I can know in my own head, which is to say, I can, like, for example, one day it came to me kind of in an moment that something about why my dad had said something about blah, 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 okay, and it became clear to me all of a sudden. And it wasn't because I was continuing to access new data on this field. I wasn't knowing about something that I was looking at. I was knowing about something that had already happened in the past. The memory was here on the internal metaphysical field of what had happened, but the meaning hadn't hadn't come clear yet. And it's, oh, that's why. Now it's here on NI and SI. I've received it in both. It's easier to receive here with SI because you're just remembering what happened to you. How much detail you retain is the significant issue here. So I don't remember what I was explaining. So it makes perfectly good sense if you think about it. It just doesn't look like it makes good sense in this picture. I'm not very good at drawing pictures like that, but if you actually pay attention to it carefully, you'll see that it makes perfectly good sense. And this here also makes perfectly good sense if you think about it a little bit. Any is a put function. That's why the arrow is that way. And it puts on those two fields. I can talk in my head or I can talk out loud. Extroverted feeling. I'm sorry. Extroverted sensing. I can put information on the external physical field by, digging a hole, or on the internal physical field by getting drunk. TI. I can get information from the internal metaphysical field. That's to say, I can think about my own ideas and parse them out. Or I can get information from the external metaphysical field. In other words, I can parse out your arguments and determine if they are correct or not. FI. I get information from the internal physical field. I can note that, I'm feeling choked up. I've got that feeling in my throat because I'm about to cry. I can get information from the internal metaphysical field. This is someone who's important to me, is meaning that I might ascribe that represents the I am form of FI, right? For NI, I can receive information on the internal metaphysical field, like have that aha moment about my dad. Or I can know that someone is a troll by my intuition. That's on the external metaphysical field. These are both on the metaphysical field. SI, I can know how my body's feeling, like right now my back's a little bit sore. Or I can remember what I've done before. This is the internal physical field, internal metaphysical field. FE, the reason it's like this, the interface thing involves 3 is because like FE is a way of rendering FI into someone else's FI into a useful kind of abstract object for the FE user. So in other words, FE goes, and it doesn't get information from the physical internal because it's trying to convert other people's external information into your own objective internal information and to know about it and then interface accordingly. Okay, well, I need to polish it for you. Yeah, okay, I'm trying to a little bit. This is a little bit of work for me today. I actually did some work instead of just live streaming. I was proud of myself. It's like it's hard for me to get things done sometimes. I was like, yay, good job, Eric. And if I tried to do it in a document, like if I try to make these pictures in GIMP, it's like so much harder ultimately. You get me an ISFP, Oliver. Oliver Linehan goes, yo, Eric, FE tool function this. Like me. Use your FE or tool function. You're not using it right. You got FE tool function this, Eric. Thanks, Rachel. Now that's a mysterious question. Can you have a puzzle without pieces? Can you have a muzzle without Reese's? Same answer to both questions. If you figure out the answer to the second one, you'll figure out the answer to the first one. What is the sound of one hand making a puzzle without pieces? It's the sound of silence. And an ENTP, let me read this thing. I like answering your questions, Nashville 5 with Chris Ebert. And an ENTP, where is NI in the stack and how is it utilized? How does it manifest? So that video that I just did about these drawings before this live stream is an example of me attempting to prioritize NI, which is to say, I want this video to not cover too much stuff and to be about one topic and to not take for a super long time. I don't want it to be too much of a TI burden. Note, in retrospect now, I think I kind of did a poor job of understanding what a consumable amount of information is to a non-TI 1-2 person. So it's like it seems kind of like the minimum amount of information to cover, though. But I guess that's why I'm saying it's NI ignoring. There are ways that I could be way more concise. For me, that's an attempt to prioritize NI because what I successfully did in the video is not allow myself to get off on very many tangents. I had a fair amount of information to cover, and I covered it successfully. This is something that I'm pretty practiced in as being a teacher. Unfortunately, it's also the fact that saying, look, I'm going to lecture this fast. This is what I would do in debate class when I used to have big classes, is I'm going to lecture this as fast as the fastest kids can get it. So, you got your set of NTPs, NTJs who can get it basically as fast as you present it. Mostly NTPs and INTJs, but because NTJs can't really, but I usually write it all on the board anyway. But the point is, that could be dull because I'm trying to be TE about the conveyance of information, and that's not being NIFE, it's being NITE. Like it was. I think you need a third between put and get. TI and FI do both. No, they don't. Look, TI and FI are get functions. Okay, so you say no. They put when you're crying, you're putting information. Only if you're faking it. I haven't checked my email today. Running Fox. FI displays are involuntary. They somebody with good FE, for example, will reveal little of their emotional response when they can avoid it. So you might say, well, why is it that TI gets an external field and FI has two internal fields? Well, because that's how it is, right? So if you think about it, FI, you can feel it in your body. You can feel the clenchiness of your throat when you're about to cry. You have water come out of your eyes. You have a reflexive laugh that, yeah, okay. Whereas TI, so which one don't you get? Because there's also receive functions. SI and NI both receive on the internal metaphysical. NI additionally receives on the external metaphysical, and SI additionally receives on the internal physical. So you're saying, well, why are SI and FI both on both internal fields? Well, because that's implicit to epistemological functions. Epistemological functions are your introverted functions, but note that they are not exclusively found on introverted fields. So, in other words, being an introverted function, whether or not it's on the two internal fields or on the two metaphysical fields, depends on whether it's a experiential function or a communicative function. A communicative introverted function necessarily has to link to an external field because it's communicative. Right? I mean, I'm actually surprising myself as I'm explaining this, like, oh, this was what I was trying to figure out. Kind of, No, there's not two in I. I'm just saying to understand how a cognitive function goes, right, is to break it down into information moves this way from this place under these conditions. So what I'm saying is you can have intuition about the external metaphysical field, like that person's a troll. Even though I don't have enough information, but there are clues that make my intuition go, that person's a troll. Or I can have intuition like, oh, that's why. I just realized that's why Judy said that to me. That happens inside my own head. It doesn't ever, once I've garnered the data, in other words, I'm not knowing on the spot. It's a piece of a larger puzzle that I'll know the realization of later. Okay. It's the same in I paying attention. It's just where are the objects it's paying attention to? Where's the data it's paying attention to? If it's paying attention to data that's already in your head, then your knowledge is going to occur here. So basically, you could say this is real-time knowing, and this is knowing that takes longer. This is the knowing that works best with interface functions. This is the knowing that can be used to bolster action functions. So, what was I saying? Oh, right. So that's why the two introverted communicative functions are here, TI and NI, and the two physical epistemological functions are here on the two internal fields. Note that NE is on two external fields. SE is on one and one. And that TE is on two physical fields, and FE is on two metaphysical fields and one physical. I mean, so it's like TE is two physical and one metaphysical. FE is two metaphysical and one physical. So that's why it works out math-wise, so that, like, for example, as an ISTP, let me talk to Genexiel here about his ISTP. It is symmetrical. It's just oddly symmetrical because this is why it seems weirdly non-symmetrical, because the perceiving functions are the opposite. If you have NE, which is a communicative function, then you also have SI, which is an experiential function. But the judging functions are the same. So if you have TI, which is a communicative function, then you also have FE, which is a communicative function. So anyway, ISTP. Let's do this for ISTP here, okay? I'm going to do one of these things for ISTP now. So ISTP. If I were to draw the box here, we'd have, this is Meta P, and this is Fi. Okay, so this is what I have so far to show the viewing audience. So then you have TI. So you put the self in the middle again. This is self. That's yourself right there. It would be TI would be going like this. And like this. So TI would be going like that. I should capitalize this T. TI. Okay. And then your FE is going to go like this. Okay, so this is supposed to be arrows going in opposite directions, but they kind of came out messed up. But anyway, that's your interface function there, your FE, going like that. Okay. You only have 8 functions, Genexio. I mean, you only have 8 things. So okay, hold on. Now we've got next we've got SE, which goes like this. SE, SE, and then you've got NI, which goes like this. So you've got 1, 2 physical functions, 3 with the extra FE. Okay, well, I guess because you have 3 with the interface, you have 9 instead of 8 fields, you know? So I guess I added wrong. My previous thing when I said I had 6 and 2. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2. Yeah, I have 7M and 2P. So what do you have? Okay, so that's interesting. I have 7 and 2. I have 7 and 2. What are you? And you have 6 and 3. All right, so this is good actually. This actually is nice because the way it works then is it explains the in-betweens of the M's and the P's. So it's like I want to find out. Let me check Rachel, INFJ, and see. Since I'm 7 and 2, if she's 6 and 3, or 7 and 2? I guess she should be 7 and 2. Let's find out. So she goes NI, which is MM, FE, which is MMP, TI, which is MM, and SE, which is PP. SE is PP. So she has 6 and 3. 6 and 3. So here's the thing. For a long time, so go by quadrant. Alphas have 7 and 2. Right. Okay, fine. So, and betas have 6 and 3. So here's the deal. What I've always said is, wow, that's a real bath full of tub of paradoxes, Fommel hot. You is balling like you've been using Hosteric brand scrotum's sheen producing wax, and it's working. Let me grab myself a bite of food here in a second, because I have a wee touch of hunger in my belly, but I am not interested in running out of gas anytime soon. So I've got to eat a bite of something. I'm gonna go grab something from the fridge, and when I come back, I'll be here with more entertainment, specially crafted for Fommel Hot's taste. He's got a thing for menageries, apparently. So I'm gonna have to come up with some menagerie themed jokes as I go out to the fridge. I'll be right back. I finished all the cake. It was so good. Okay. So I got some bad news. I don't think I've been able to come up with $100 worth of menagerie jokes. I've been trying the whole time I was out there. What the F is going on with the chat right now? Okay. I'll check your email right now. I mean, you're not the first one I've heard talk about it, Running Fox. Well, look. First of all, let me just say that Running Fox's email is highly compelling and interesting and well worth getting me to go look at it. Okay. Can I read it out loud? I think the answer is yes. But while I'm waiting for it, I'll correct this. Non-alcoholic beer has no alcohols in it. See? Not even 0.5%. All right. I'll give you the gist. Oh, you're going to be interested. It's an interesting topic. So, let's discuss this issue of INFJ women and whether or not they cheat on people. First of all, I would suspect that probably INFJ women do that to end longish relationships. There's another factor. People around here in relationships, women who are in a relationship and hanging out on the Talking with Famous People live stream are definitely DTF. I have seen. This is not. It's something about. If you're a woman hanging out around Talking with Famous People and you're in a relationship, I will see the end of it. I will witness the end of your relationship. It seems like I've so many people around here have come around and they started off as being married or whatever, and then I find out they met someone on Talking Famous People and they had an affair. No, but she's the one who told me to check the email. I think it's interesting. What's not interesting about it? She's excited because I suspect, there's a lot of crust on that brisket. Crust is the best part. The thing is, I'm not like I'm the one choosing to make it public. You want to hurry up and read the email. The thing is, regarding the issue of INFJ women cheating, obviously the elephant in the room is, well, I'm dating an INFJ woman. But I mean, it'd be weird for Rachel to some INFJ woman. Okay. And so there's a desire to discuss this issue of, is it the case that in fact INFJ women cheat? Well, I would say people in bad relationships end up usually getting out of those relationships. People have different ways of getting out of relationships. So, historically, my MO has been, I don't break up with people if they're behaving inadequately in some fashion or not upholding the universal norms for healthy interactions. Then I will bring the hammer and bust their chops until they either fix themselves or leave. That was my approach to this matter historically. Now, is that really better than cheating? Yes. It's a better way to get out of a relationship. Is it particularly more courageous than cheating? No. It's another cowardly way of avoiding reality. But the thing about cheating is this. It depends how much having the moral high ground matters to you. Dudes cheat and eat like it ain't shit. What's cheat and eat mean? They cheat and then they have dinner. I can't find anyone to cheat on, let alone with. That's how you should phrase that joke, Farmerhawk. That's a great joke then. You should put it like that. I can't even find anyone to cheat on, let alone with. Well, then you're in the right place. Welcome to We'll Help You Find a Lady, the game show that helps you find a lady. Contestant 1. What flavor is Cactus Cooler? Pineapple orange? The question is moot. I'll just read the whole email. Okay, fine. Thank you. It's much easier. It says, hey, Eric, you should do a video on how INFJ women can't find satisfaction in anything and how they like to cheat on their significant others and ruin their families in the process. From the other people have discussed this within the MBTI community, it is actually a common occurrence. I actually met someone on here through your live streams and did that exact thing recently. Would love to hear your thoughts in the video. Have a great day. I mean, my thoughts are I feel bad for you because you're obviously, you're not going to come out of this smelling like a rose, Pineapple orange. Of course, the other thing is, it's going to be it's going to be hard because you're going to face a lot of judgment and you're not going to get much sympathy from anybody, you know. But you get sympathy here. You know, it's like I don't validate what you did, but I'm sympathetic. I know that for the person who cheats, in a lot of ways, it's got to be harder than for the person who cheated on. Yeah, I want to know with whom. Totally. I don't think so, Oliver. Jeff Shaw? Is it Jeff Shaw? I mean, a lot of people drunk dial me, actually. I get a fair amount of those. Jeff Shaw, wow. Look, no, Diamond, listen, I've been cheated on in my first marriage, and it was incredibly difficult. What was interesting was I didn't even like that woman, but the betrayal was nevertheless incredibly crushing, you know, and caused me a great deal of pain and suffering. However, once I take some distance from the occasion, it's clear I'd much rather be in my position 2 years after a cheating incident than in the cheater's position. Because the cheater is going to have to go into every upcoming relationship if they want to take it seriously by acknowledging that they ended their last one with cheating. Yeah, that was the woman I had a child with. The thing is, it was kind of a quick process. Like, we got married and she stopped taking birth control and she was pregnant like the next month, you know, like right away. So I'm very confident that it's my child. Like the opportunity for her to cheat within like the first month of our marriage, it would be very difficult to imagine that it would be someone else's child. Well, you know, I mean, oh, my child's not fucked up from that, really. Because she was only 2.5 when her mother and I separated. And by the time she was 3, she had a replacement mother. How old's your kid? I mean, the other thing writing Fox is this. It's like, did you go, oh shit, I made a mistake and I fucked up the only really good thing I have that was pure and true and special for this temporary adrenaline rush? Or did you go, finally, I can't stay there any longer? You know, if it's the latter, you're more wicked and better off. If it's the former, you're more tragic and worse off, and less wicked and more just, it's a sad, sad thing, you know? Jeff Shaw, huh? Big pimpin'. All right, well, I guess he's a cool guy. I mean, I don't know. Is he cool? He must be at least sort of cool, I guess. Unless you have. So did you actually go sleep with him, or is this just sort of like one of those emotional cheating things? Or is it more like uh, uh, video conference sex, but not physical? There's like 3 levels, right? You could have supposedly like an emotional affair where you're being closer to somebody else than your purportedly most intimate other. That's kind of like emotional cheating. Or you could have, I guess, what would comprise something very close to full blast cheating, but not quite, which is internet sex with somebody, like video conference sex. Or then you can have actual cheating where you drive or fly in to a motel and hump each other, you know. Um, I would I would treat each of those differently. But if if I were on the receiving end, you know, somebody if Rachel had an emotional affair with somebody, I would try to get I would try to get a better sense of what that means exactly. Because I do understand the concept that you're sharing your most you're sharing who do you share your secrets with? If you're sharing your secrets about your husband with somebody else, then that somebody else is your most intimate partner. If you're sharing your secrets about somebody else with your husband, then your husband's the most intimate partner. But if you're doing it behind your husband's back, that's never going to happen, right? However, my perspective is if it were only if it were only that you like, let's say, showed him your boobs once, then super regretted it on video conference. You showed him your boobs once on video conference and super regretted it, then confessed everything to your husband. If I were the husband and I could ascertain that nothing further than that had ever occurred, it who says that? Who does that? What difference does it make? I have no idea what you're talking about, Adrian B. Why would a husband tell his wife he meowed a meow meow but denied meowing her? And turn around and get mad because after telling her he wants the wife to sleep with him and the wife doesn't want to. Because he's an idiot? Because he's an ESFP, I guess? I don't know. Okay, emotionally cheated and you are planning to meet up with him. Okay, emotionally cheated, fine. I get that. Now, the question is, but has he actually seen you naked yet? It's a big difference, right? If I'm the husband and you haven't actually shown me any of your goodies yet, then it's not past the line of no return because it's like I don't really. It depends what. Oh my goodness! What do you mean? This is childish, Ghostwriter. This is interesting. I mean, it's very, very sad. You told your husband it was who? Oh, so you told your husband you were done with. Um, how old are you? Like early 30s? Diamond said, Eric, women share with women all the time. What does that mean? You lied to both of them, meaning to Jeff Shaw and the husband. So was there a third person besides Jeff Shaw and the husband? Or, so I don't get this one where you say, I told my husband I was done with him, and then he found a voicemail a couple days later from Mr. Shaw. And oh, so you mean you broke up with him without telling him about the other guy, and then he found out about it? Is that what you're saying? Ooh, girl. You know, I am here live streaming all the time. And if any of you out there are considering a big decision and are wondering if it's a bad decision or not, and it's important to you in some regard, feel free to hit me up to talk to me. I'd be happy to advise you. Obviously, at the time, Running Fox, not Rachel, didn't want advice. She wanted the DICK. You made him believe it was him. I see. So you were trying to get out of the relationship without acknowledging that there had been any third party, that it was just you'd become disillusioned with him. And I just don't love you anymore because you play backgammon far too frequently. We've all made mistakes. The thing is, I cheated once, but I got out of the way when I was like 18. I never cheated since. I didn't get the feelings aspect of it until after I did it. It's one of those sort of things like an ENTP is going to probably make that mistake before they learn from it, you know? So what are you going to do, Running Fox? You just feel like, oh, Jesus, it's like, I was, I'm going to get that. And then I tripped and fell into the porta potty. Do you feel like that? Cheating is mostly done for ego boosts? Is it? Probably, I guess. I don't know. I think it depends how into sex you are. Like, I can imagine for, say, an ESFP, it might be challenging to resist simply the overwhelming lustfulness with which you go about life, right? Whereas for me, I like sex a lot. I mean, Rachel and I have a regular amount of sex, I guess. You cheated on your second husband with his last husband? Oh, Running Fox. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 Running Fox. Try not to do that anymore, please. It causes people. It breaks people. Like, I mean, in this particular instance, I feel less bad for your current husband because he should have expected this. I mean, if it's I mean, it's her email. Is it possible that her significant other got a hold of her email address? I mean, I've received emails from her before, so it is her email address. Might it be her significant other ex who got into her email and is doing this? That's plausible. But if that's what they're wanting, I don't think it's going the way they hoped for. Because obviously the behavior, if she's engaged in it, is unacceptable. And that's what it is. But I tend to, if somebody's not wronging me or somebody I know, there but for the grace of God go I. It's like I don't feel any need to judge or condemn. Nothing good ever comes out of dishonesty or betrayal. Nothing good ever comes out of lying and being secretive and hiding shit and stuff like that. Okay, well, it's funny. Rachel's in bed. I don't think she's asleep yet. It's only 8:00, but she went inside, or she went inside. She went and she napped some time ago, and then I showed this. Yeah, well, the thing is, this could be explained by possibly Randy Fox's significant other or ex or whatever, but it could also be explained by the fact that people respond to extraordinarily big traumas in their lives differently. It sounds like Randy Fox was looking to trade in the current stagnation of the now for an exciting new reality, but it didn't play out that way. She didn't get to play that thing, and she got caught, and she's, so it's like, I believe her. I believe it is Randy Fox, and I think this is the sort of thing somebody might do who's just, well, it's like the Fiona Apple song. I have to find the lyrics to it. I've been a bad, bad girl. I've been careless with the delicate man. And it's a sad, sad world when a girl will break a boy just because she can. Don't you tell me to deny it. I've done wrong and I want to suffer for my sins. I've come to you because I need guidance to be true, and I just don't know where I can begin. What I need is a good defense, because I'm feeling like a criminal, and I need to be redeemed to the one I've sinned against, because he's all I ever knew of love. Heaven help me for the way I am. Save me from these evil deeds before I'm done. I know tomorrow brings the consequence at hand, but I keep living this day like the next will never come. Help me, but don't tell me to deny it. I've got to cleanse myself of all these lies. I've got a lot to lose and I'm betting high, so I'm begging you before it ends, just tell me where to begin. What I need is a good defense, 'cause I'm feeling like a criminal. And I need to be redeemed to the one I've sinned against, 'cause he's all I ever knew of love. Of love. Is that how you feel? I've been a bad, bad girl. Yeah, that's a powerful song, powerful video too. You know, I agree. It's more painful and more difficult for the one cheated upon experientially if they themselves are not a cheater. But I don't feel any satisfaction at seeing Running Fox's poor judgment cause her to forsake the moral high ground. That's what it boils down to me is I just place too much importance on being able to make certain kind of arguments, have certain kind of expectations, sustain certain kind of claims and arguments, not be subject to certain kind of hypocrisy claims and stuff like that. So it's just inconceivable to me to willingly give up the moral high ground like that. But of course, I get that sometimes things seem really enticing, maybe. I don't know. Fumble hot, my parents, same thing. They were together they've been together, still are together, well over 50 years now. Well, I mean, and the more you've stated your case in life, the more harm that occurs if you deviate from the case that you've built up. I spent years building up this character, right? Who has these virtues, these weaknesses, and these axioms you can always count on. You can always count on Farmel Hot to be the guy who donated $100 that one time. Or before, maybe even more than once. I don't know. You probably donated before. Who knows? I don't really remember. But that guy is an important guy. Today, this whole live stream, he's got a sign around his neck that says, "I'm super important." let's plan a series of metaphorical arsons where we metaphorically burn something in effigy. So it's a double metaphor. How do you create a moral compass? How do you decide what's good and evil? Well, the thing is, the negative aspects of it are very straightforward. It's, I'm very good at not doing what I say I'm not going to do. I'm medium okay at doing what I say I'm going to do. But the thing is, of the two, the former is much more important. Rachel knows I'm not going to lie to her, not willfully or directly, even if it doesn't matter, even if it's not a significant matter, that I'm not going to lie to her. She knows this because she's been trying to catch me in a lie every minute of our relationship for the entire year plus, because that's kind of what INFJs do. Not because I've read that in her behavior or something. Okay. But she knows I'm not going to lie to her. If for no other reason than I have too much of my identity invested into upholding certain values, and I have too much. I'm not susceptible to certain kind of traps that maybe younger people are susceptible to. I mean, the thing is, Rachel and I don't lie to each other. I mean, I certainly don't lie to her. I'm assuming she doesn't lie to me. I haven't noted her lying to me. I have plenty of evidence of her not lying to me. So, regardless, it's not because it doesn't turn out to play out very often, though, as the way Rachel indicates there, or the way that seems to be implied by what Formal Hot says. I'm not struggling to not lie. In other words, it's not like, okay, Rachel, you're right. I think that shirt's fucking hideous. I told you I loved it, and I in honest truth, I think it's a hideous fucking shirt. You got me. But I can't tell a lie. It's not like that, right? Okay. It's more like, okay, like earlier today in a live stream, I talked about how, I like to drive around the Target parking lot playing, pumping this song, which is Gang of Drug Addicts by Lil Pump. And then I had to clarify. I say, well, I've done that once. In part because, but I've gotten really habituated not even checking this really that much, but in part because I wouldn't want Rachel to hear it and realize that I had misrepresented what I've done one time as a habitual behavior. So I corrected myself. That's the kind of level of detail that I'm talking about. We don't have to worry about the truth hurting each other. Like, the truth is, Rachel absolutely fucking adores me. I've never seen anything like it. I've never felt so loved. It's like, wow, you really love me. You not only do you love me, you're with me, and we're together. We've been together for a long time now. And when you're alone in the bathtub, well, right now, you're still listening to me. I mean, you must really like me, right? That's a lot of Eric. I mean, you gotta really have a high tolerance for Eric to be Rachel, right? Because you got shit tons of Eric all the time. It's like I one time thought of a good motto for the channel would be more Eric than anyone could ever possibly want. Is Arson a supervillain who resolves messy family relations like that? He DM'd Cloud as well. He was asking if I was from Oregon, if I was sleeping with married women. Oh, Running Fox's man is DMing folks or whatever. On what platform? There's no DMing on YouTube. And that's the only platform that exists, right? I thought we all agreed on that last time. Didn't we agree? I thought there were no other platforms except YouTube anymore. We'd all agreed to close our MySpace pages. Discord, that pot of hot trouble soup is causing trouble again, living up to its name. Boy, oh boy. It's always those bad boys in Discord. They're like the subredditors of pot stirring. Anytime my wife says, "I'm not crazy," your response is, "You married me, your argument's not valid." All the Discordians who haven't been here since the incident are here at the same time, Eric. Something's up. Oliver Lionhan, listen. Running Fox is genuinely contacting, or at least her genuine email has contacted me. So it's possible that her significant other hijacked it, but I don't believe it's possible that Running Fox herself is willfully running some kind of caper or whatever. And I also don't think that why do some people get so uncomfortable with this conversation? It's so funny. It's like a number of people, okay, I'm not sitting around here for this. This is awful. What's so awful about it? It's a conversation about the human condition or something. Genexial, I'm pretty sure that's not fake Lijo, okay? Again, somebody I've emailed for like years ago even, and I got an email from her recently talking about how much she enjoys coming to this live stream. So that's really Lijo. Now, there may occasionally be somebody who fakes Lijo, but that was not fake Lijo, Genexial. Your NI is wrong here. No, she has been here lately, okay? I got a very nice email from her, actually, maybe a week ago. I don't think I responded to it, actually. I'm so terrible with my fucking FE. It's awful. Yeah, it was a very nice, collegial, friendly, positive email, and definitely from her. Like I said, I know her email address because I've gotten emails from her before, and I mean, I don't know for sure that this person tonight wasn't a fake, but I'm saying it's not consistent that it wouldn't be inconsistent or surprising if it were really her. And she didn't behave in a way that was suggesting anything that would suggest it wasn't. So, Okay, well, that's possible, Winston's mom. I'm not sure. I just know that yeah. I mean, the email is quite long. She was kind of half venting YouTuber to YouTuber about all the like bullshit hate mail she gets and stuff, and half saying how she appreciated my approach to things and how like it's a comfortable place to hang out, you know. So I think it's more likely than not that it was probably really her. Now, when you ever see C.S. Joseph come in here, you can be sure that's not really C.S. Joseph. Okay, that's just some troll. And we used to have Donald Trump come in here. It wasn't really Donald Trump, actually. It was just a troll. But certainly, Lijo's somebody that might be faked within this community. If you know the community and you're gonna fake something, Ronnie Fox, I'm sorry that you're suffering, and I believe this is what it is, and not some whatever everyone's hypothesizing about. I'm sorry it happened. I don't know why is it exactly that you think that you end up making that decision. Is it I mean, it's been a tough year, right? Like I've said before, if I were with anybody else, I'm sure Rachel and I would be at each other's throats by now. Like, we've been locked up together here for a year or so, approximately, and I like that expression, Gen X. I'm not dying on a hill. That's a variant, and I'm not falling on my sword over this or something. But I'm not going to die on a hill over it. Is that the gist of it? I've never really heard that exact expression before, but I like it. Well, just make sure, okay? I just want to make sure that everybody is very aware of this. That I had nothing to do with it. I had no knowledge of it. I am not the person that she cheated with, and I have nothing to do with it. Okay, so let me just make sure that's very clearly laid out there. But I have found that in the right relationship, there's just not really any not really ever any instances of being on the wrong page. I mean, look, Cloud, I'm letting you stay here, right? You're talking right now. I haven't banned you yet. I have no interest in Discord. I don't have time for. Why don't you go select some unpleasant experiences from the tub of scrubs? It's not an exciting thought for me. Oliver Linehan, listen, you better leave that intuition to the INFJs, buddy. You're getting a little too big for your ISFJ britches. Everybody knows that ISFJs aren't allowed to have intuition. Okay? Everybody knows that. LeBlanc is Cloud, Running Fox. I blocked Cloud from the channel. So he has to come here as one of his myriad other Mias. Eric, why not collaborate with C.S. Joseph and Frank James? Well, I have on multiple occasions in the past made overtures to C.S. Joseph. Frank James has nothing to gain from working with me. I mean, obviously, if Frank James was willing to or interested in making a video with me, I'd be super stoked because it's going to get a lot more views than any of my other videos. I haven't really considered asking if I could. No, I think I did one time put a comment saying, "Hey, I wonder, can I interview you sometime?" Probably just didn't see the comment. You know, I get so many comments. I might have his phone number. Like, you know, I got Megan Lavota's phone number. Isn't that kind of cool? I have Megan Lavota's phone number. She called me sometime, or we talked on the phone a couple of times about like the typing that I did with her, and then I started dating Rachel, and I thought she was an ENFJ. I was like, give me some tips on dealing with ENFJs, you know. I should make more videos about Armenian hats. Those aren't Armenian hats. Those are Albanian hats. Okay. Good question there, Desert INTJ. The answer is no. Nobody can dial the number directly to her browse. Any calls get forwarded through her sideburns. I guess she's a lesbian, huh? Rachel showed me a picture of her with her girlfriend. I was like, "Oh, dog, damn, look at that shit. I had no idea." Well, she posted a picture of herself and her girlfriend on Instagram or something. It's not like she's trying to keep it quiet or anything. I was just surprised to know that, you know. But I think ENFJs are, you know, interested in sexually engaging. They're not going to limit themselves, okay? They're ENFJs. I actually think, to be honest, that ENFJs are probably one of the types that goes to those like swinger parties and stuff, and like the key parties. You heard of those key parties where everybody puts their keys in a bowl, and then I guess if you pull out your own keys, you just got to masturbate. I'm not sure how it works. If you pull your own keys, own keys, and everybody else laughs at you as you go masturbate in the corner. Yeah, I've been to a few key parties. Problem is, I keep pulling my own keys. It's fucking terrible luck, dude. It's like, Jesus, I could do this at home. Ba-da-da-ta. Oh, I gotta go. Thank you very much again for the $100 from Hot. That's very, very sweet and swell of you, and much appreciated. And I gotta go. I gotta work. Yeah, well, the thing about Penthouse Forum was his mom is somebody who enjoyed Penthouse Forum as a teenager. What I learned from Penthouse Forum is that college was full of wild young co-eds who were interested in experimenting with random dudes who happened to be there, right? That's what I learned from Penthouse Forum. Good night.